Welcome to the single leg parlay college week 9 review. We got a lot of picks to go over from last week, and we're going to talk about everything that happened in the world of college football that was interesting, at least. But before we do anything, we have to introduce ourselves. That's Andy. That's Danny. I'm Matt. This is Beer. Cheers. Oh, that's Al. That's Al.
And here he is. Cheers, Al.
So a pretty good week for the boys overall. Yes, a good week. The pod best bets went 3-1, right? So that's getting back on track. All picks this week were 29 and 23, so 55.77%. Hey, you made a little bit of extra scratch. That's pretty good. Let's talk about the high weeks. Al was 6-5 at 55%. I was 4-3 at 57%. Danny was 1 under. Danny's been hot. You're going to go 1 under. Tip the dealer. You had a little extra fun. And then Andy with a strong week this week. 12-7, a 63% winning week, which gets your boy back to 50%. Honestly, he puts it right where he needs to be. Now it's attack mode. Attack mode Andy's coming. So let's see what happens next.
Keep betting totals, Andy.
For sure.
Totals.
5-0 in your totals this week. Nice picks.
Hey,
Thank you.
take the wins however you can get the wins. Normally on our week reviews, we like to give out some awards. We'll give out our most impressive, Kaiser Soze, which is a suspect. Boy, was I wrong. And a special award, a special ball we can hand out to a remarkable thing that happened in the world of college football. But let's start off with the most impressive. Andy, who impressed you the most this week?
I think the most impressive team this week might have been Notre Dame. They beat the crap out of what was a previously undefeated Navy. Big news, guys. Notre Dame hates the troops.
They really do.
They covered easily.
Yes. They were covering in like the first quarter, I think, and then they never took their foot off the gas. It was great. I mean, awful for the troops.
It was great for the bets, but I felt bad. I really wanted Navy to show some fight and make it really interesting going into playoff time. They did not. They will not be in the college football playoff.
Correct.
So that's a good one. Danny, who impressed you the most?
I'm going to go with Oregon. An Illinois team that basically got Michigan to play their game and was able to beat Michigan. That was an ugly football game. But Illinois was able to come out on top by 2 touchdowns, so they kind of controlled it and they played their way. I thought that they would be able to at least stay close to Oregon. They were getting 15 points or something. It was a bunch of points, and they were never in the game.
It's like 21 and a half.
Yeah, there you go. It's 2.5 points. I figured that they would cover that pretty easily, but no, Oregon just completely dominated the game. What's your quarterback's name, Andy? Altmaier, right? Altmaier, yeah. Yeah, Luke Altmaier, he didn't even throw for 100 yards. It was they couldn't do anything on offense. So, and they couldn't stop Oregon. So it was just rough game all around.
Oregon really is rounding into shape to look like the number 1 team. Well, other teams have looked suspect as the season goes on. Oregon kind of has been putting together like solid performances. I think they deserve that number 1 spot that they currently hold. Now, there's 4 weeks left, so we'll see. Go ahead.
Dylan Gabriel looked really good. I think there might be some other schools wishing that they ponied up with the Sacco cash.
Yeah. Yep, they might be. I might be a fan of one of those schools that wish they would have put a little cash for it. I'm going to go with mine next. I have 2 teams that impressed the hell out of me. Colorado. So, guys, I think Colorado may be good. I know we've been wanting to bash them and make fun of them. And last year, we were right. We were early to it, and we were right. This year, I think we may be wrong. Shador looks great. Travis Hunter looks great. When you walk into a field and you normally have the top 2 players on that field, it's a team game, right? It all matters, but it's really good when your quarterback is that impressive. Colorado's doing – these are games they were pissing away last year, and they're winning them. I mean, they beat a pretty good Cincinnati team last week. They kicked the shit out of a good Arizona team on the road. They're really running into form, and I hate to say it, but I think Coach Prime has got something working. Now, next year – we'll see what happens. But this year, That shit looks pretty good. And they may be in the Big 12 title race because that conference is silly conference.
They've also still have 4 games to play, and they've already hit the season win total, 5.5 places, and that was win number 6 for them.
Yeah. Other one was Texas A&M. LSU had been hot. They had been the hottest team in the country, well, one of the hottest teams in the country. Oregon hasn't lost, but they had not lost since week 1. And they had all the hype. They go into Texas A&M. Texas A&M benches Connor Wegman, goes to Marcel Reese. I think Marcel Reese threw it like 3 times, and they still dominated the game. Texas A&M's defense was a problem and continued to look like a problem for LSU. I know Danny's going to give you a little more information about that as we go on, but yeah, big kudos to Mike Elko and the boys. Al, who impressed you the most?
Yeah, so I guess I don't know which one of these teams. I don't know if you'd say these teams impressed me or the teams that they hung with did not impress me. But I'm going to throw them both out here. Nebraska hanging tight with Ohio State, and then Baylor covering against Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
So,
Baylor kicked the shit out of Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Like, just went out there and beat their asses. That Oklahoma State team, look, I know we talk about teams that have failed the most. Florida State has to be like number 1 with a bullet. Oklahoma State is up that list with hanging out in that Michigan territory.
I don't know if you guys remember this. I certainly do. But I remember hearing some chuckles when I suggested Mike Gundy might be on the hot seat this season. They are 3-5. They are bad.
It's not going to cut it. That's not a tough conference.
That's not a cut the mullet.
No, that is not going to cut it. I know we're going to go into this in a second too, but is Indiana really good? Right? Because Nebraska got their throat stepped on by Indiana. They go to Columbus and fight tough. Is Indiana really good? Is Ohio State really overrated? I don't know what to make of Nebraska's last 2 games. I understand it's not transitive, right? But something's got to give here because I think Indiana may be the best team in the Big Ten.
I think Indiana is squarely in like as good, if not better than all of like the second tier teams. It's to be determined if they can hang with like the big dogs, but I'm tired of betting against them and losing. They are definitely better than
they've covered every game, right?
Like a top 5 team.
Have they covered every game?
I don't know if they've covered, but they've definitely covered a lot lately. I mean, I don't know when the line has adjusted to meet expectation, but I don't think anyone expected them to be undefeated at this point. So I know they've covered more than they haven't.
Washington's been their closest game, and they won it by 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, and they don't have all cupcakes. I mean, Nebraska, Maryland, UCLA's not great, but they're not all cupcakes that they played.
I think they play Ohio State in a week or 2. That'll be super interesting.
Michigan State, Michigan, and then Ohio State. So this is like kind of what would normally be the hard part of their schedule. Michigan State kind of sucks. So
Michigan kind of sucks too, but
yeah.
It's still a game. They still got
for sure.
Like they should be favored against Michigan and they should cover. That is how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I'm super interested in that Ohio State one.
Here's a fun fact. Indiana is the only team this year not to be trailing at any point. So do with that what you will. They are 8-0 and they have not trailed for 1 second this year. So hot day.
It's probably the undefeated team that's trailed the most this season. That would be
most minutes trailing.
They are 5-0 in their last 5 games against the spread. I don't know more beyond that.
Yeah, I'm done betting against
7-1. 7-1 on the season, I think.
They won by 25 against UCLA, 74 against Western Illinois. Maybe they didn't cover FIU when they won by 24.
Maybe.
They did. I bet FIU in that game, week 1. So they did. I remember it squarely. Yeah, they're a good team. Let's not talk about good teams. Let's talk about suspect teams for a second. What team was most suspect this week? I'm going to start off with you, Dano.
Most of my Kaiser Soze of the week, I'm going to go with Ohio State. They just did not really look great this week, and if Nebraska was leading in the fourth quarter, they got the ball back in the fourth quarter. They went down and scored a touchdown, and Ohio State had to come back to beat Nebraska. They're just, I don't know if Ohio State's the national championship contender that they normally are.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I don't really know who is a national championship contender right now. Like, feel good about Oregon.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know. I have no damn idea. Oh, and Oregon could lose, right? Like, I don't think they're perfect. Those first few weeks taught us, like, either Boise State was really good or Oregon can have some troublesome games. But
I think those are both true.
yeah, but if Dylan Gabriel's on, that team's not going to be beaten by anybody. Yeah, I think you're right, Danny.
Georgia and Alabama. I mean, Ohio State's up there, but Georgia, Alabama have been really good. Almost 2 losses or
Texas still.
In the SEC.
There's
Texas.
Yeah.
They have the one loss to Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a tough loss.
Yeah. My Kaiser Soze is the one you just talked about, Texas. Everyone was super high on Texas. They get into a game where they're beating Vanderbilt at the half. They just try to run the ball, and run the game out. They are unable to do that against a Vanderbilt team, right? And this Vanderbilt team has shown a lot more fight than we expected. But come on, it's still Vanderbilt versus Texas.
Yes.
What the hell? Like, there's something really wrong. I don't think they have, like, I don't know what the term is, like the easy button plays where you can just be like, all right, I'll get 4 or 5 yards here, and we'll get 4 or 5 yards again, and we're just going to wear them down. Their run game looks bad, legitimately bad, and Quinn Ewers has not looked as great as we expected. I don't know if it's the Arch Manning thing behind him or what's going on, but I don't know. That Texas team looks like they're ripe for another loss from what I watched this weekend, and coming off that Georgia game when everyone was really high on them.
Yeah,
I mean, the first 5 weeks they were dominating everybody, and then it just kind of, turned on them. So.
Yeah.
Something got found out, or I don't know what's going on.
I also didn't play anybody.
All the teams,
I mean, they played Michigan, but
yeah, they're a Big 12 team playing in the Big 10, right? So, or the SEC. The whole top 25.
It could just be a hangover from the Georgia. It could have just been a hangover from the Georgia game. Same thing with Ohio State. That could have been a hangover from the Oregon game. Both of those teams are at the top, and they lost to a top 5 team the week before. So I might be overreacting. We might both be overreacting to the Vanderbilt game and the Nebraska game.
I don't think so. I think the whole top 25 is suspect. That's my Kaiser Soze this week. The whole top 25. Everyone, either the teams that are like the tried and trues and the blue bloods have multiple losses. The teams that are undefeated look like they could lose the next game. You know what I mean? So like there's no one here that stands out. I honestly, for as much as the NCAA is trying to overcomplicate and make the playoff system like the least fun possible, I think we're guaranteed to have a super fun playoff.
I think so too. I'm glad you said that about the top 25 because I actually want to change my Kaiser Soze to the top 25 voters. They're incredibly suspect. Okay, guys, would you rank a undefeated Iowa State below a Notre Dame that lost to Northern Illinois? Right? Like, are we doing this as a power ratings thing? Because why play the games?
Yeah, correct.
You have Iowa State, who's 11th. You have Indiana, who's 13th. Indiana, like, at some point, how many Big Ten teams have 0 losses? Penn State,
these teams,
3.
These teams aren't going to all end up with only 2 losses in the top 25. Like some of these teams are going to separate, right? So I think the 12 is still a good number. Right now, it looks like we have 25 teams that could play in a playoff for the champ. Probably 28.
I think Matt's making a great point though, because I think already the voters are jockeying for position to set themselves up to be able to pick the name brand schools for the playoffs, and it's the job of the teams, the Iowa States, to actually run the table to get in, whereas Notre Dame's already afforded a playoff spot with 1 loss to a bad team. You know, they could drop another and possibly still get in the way that they're being ranked currently. So,
I agree with that. Pitt and Indiana are both way too low for being undefeated.
Pitt is absurd. That is absurd.
They
That
even
they're
ranked?
undefeated.
Yeah, that's crazy.
18. 7-0.
But think about it this way, right? Ohio State, we know Indiana has to go play Michigan and Ohio State. wouldn't it behoove those two schools to have Indiana ranked as high as possible when they play them? Like, wouldn't that look like a more promising win if they do win?
Does
Right?
it matter?
Why
Though?
would it?
That's the thing. I don't think you need a quality win if you win all your games.
No, I'm saying for Ohio State's sake, they lost a game, right? Wouldn't it be advantageous for them to have Indiana?
I guess
ranked
the
like
caveat
8th?
being that like the Blue Bloods get an automatic loss that does not disqualify them from the playoff.
Yeah, I just don't understand the premise. Sorry, I know I took us on a tangent. I just saw the ratings today. I'm like, what the fuck, Pitt,
Yeah, it's
BYU,
crazy.
Iowa State. These teams are playing good and they're not getting any love. And Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois and they're in the top fucking
Pitt.
8.
So here's the thing. Pitt plays SMU, who's also ranked this week, and then not this week after the bye. No, this week. Sorry, and then they play Virginia, and then they play Clemson, and so they control their destiny essentially. If they win those 3 games, there's no way they're going to be outside of the top 10 or 12.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like I'm not really worried about it now because that stuff sorts itself out. But to your point, I do think there's a lot of cushion built in for the big name schools that smaller schools don't get that benefit, and it's kind of annoying.
It's just bullshit. LSU is 16th. They just got beat by Texas A&M. They're 6-2 and they're ranked above Pitt. Come the fuck on, right? Like Pitt has done everything they needed. They had 3 pick sixes. This should have been my award. They forced 3 pick sixes against Syracuse the other day, which I've never seen that many pick sixes in a game. That's a lot.
Yeah, you have.
Sixes.
You've watched Jameis Winston.
I think I popped that game
I mean,
on just for the third one. I turned that game on and he threw the third pick and it was literally he put it right in the defender's chest. Like he could not have put it more on the defender's chest if he was doing it intentionally.
Narduzzi came back to life when that happened too. He had 3 pick sixes.
He went Super Saiyan.
6 to midnight for that.
All you want to do is hand the ball off after that. So speaking of teams that are disrespected, though, Illinois, their losses are to number 1 and number 3, and for some reason they're 24. But Alabama is up there at 13 with 2 losses because they're SEC losses, so they count better. I mean,
it's the same thing Matt's saying, right? That like the Iowa States, the Pitts, like they don't have the same cachet as the.
If that's Bama that loses to number 1 and number 3, they're still ranked in the top 10. If it's Illinois, they're fighting for their lives to be ranked at all.
I think a lot of
Bama lost to what?
Texas and Georgia, right? They lost to Texas and Georgia.
No, they beat Georgia. They lost to
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. Oh, okay. That's
anchor down.
Well, Vanderbilt only has one loss now, and it's to Texas, and it was barely.
Yeah, suddenly these Vandy losses aren't looking so bad, huh? 26th ranked team in the country.
Speaking of Illinois, Andy, who's your Kaiser Soze?
It is Illinois, and we already talked about this when Danny's most impressive was Oregon, so we don't have to spend a lot of time here. But Matt and I were talking before we started recording that Illinois actually had the ball in the fourth quarter with a chance to cover, and they shit the bed. But that's only because Oregon took their foot off the gas and was like, we don't need to kill these guys. Like, we're new to the conference. Like, let's make sure they like us still when they leave here. They could have beat us 75-0 if they wanted to. It looked real bad. I think I said on the pod last week, like, I just want to look like we belong on the same field as them, and we did not.
No,
they looked like absolutely did not. Yeah,
that looked like Michael Penix last year when things were really cooking. That kind of like performance, you're like, whoa, that's a different level of football than I'm accustomed to.
Yeah, they did. The announcers fired a shot at Michigan during the game, which was very funny. They were like, Michigan had these same open looks against Illinois last week. It's just they didn't have a quarterback who could hit any of them, which was very funny. Michigan out here taking strays.
They deserve it.
R.I.P. Jack Tuttle's career as college football quarterback, too, retiring today after his 5th concussion. So Michigan's down a QB. Who are they going with? Davis Warren?
Too many concussions.
Warner Orgy.
Oh, yeah, Orgy. I forgot about Orgy. I'm sorry. I stepped all over your Kaiser Soze, but do you want to bring it up? I didn't read your spreadsheet.
No, it's
Or the
okay.
Shoot?
It's just Oklahoma State. They're 3-5. They're 0-5 in conference play. They're toast. They're not good. I think they were ranked preseason too, were they not? They were
They
like
sure were.
20th or something. So I'm just hoping so bad Mike Gundy gets fired. He's a man. Go after him.
He's 40.
He's a man.
He's probably 50 now.
Probably 50 now.
Yeah, that's it. And then the top 25. So all good.
Yeah, I fucked that up. Let's bring up where we were wrong last week in a segment we like to call, or an award we like to call, Boy, Was I Wrong. Al, you want to start us off there?
Yeah, sure. So I was wrong about Mississippi State. I took them +7. I think I've talked enough about Arkansas over the season, more so than anyone really should see fit to do so. But my point is always that Arkansas can hang with the big dogs, but they play down to their competition. Then they went out and they won 58-25 against Mississippi State. So this was never going to cover. Arkansas is a lot better than Mississippi State.
Bobby Petrino's got those boys humming, really ripping down the highway.
You sure do.
Let's go with Andy here.
Yeah, my excuse me, where I was wrong was Oregon State. I was getting them +10. Thought they'd be able to hang with Cal. They lost 44-7. It was never even a remote possibility that I was going to cover this one. It was real bad.
Honestly, when you face an ACC team, you got to know the big things are coming, all right, as a Pac-2 competitor. Like, the ACC don't really fucking play.
It's true.
And Cal's been scrappy despite their shitty record. They're a tough team.
Yeah.
Danny, how are you wrong?
I thought Toledo was pretty good. It had a chance to compete for the MAC, but losing that game to Bowling Green kind of. I mean, they're not 2-2 in the MAC. I had them at -2.5, and the closest they got was in the third quarter. They were within 5, but then Bowling Green ran away after that. So that's one I was wrong about. I thought that they were going to dominate the game. So
That's
I
a
had them
fun
-2.5,
rivalry.
and they lost by 15. But I really thought the 2.5 was a really good bet. So.
Yeah, no, it felt like that should have been the right side. That's the rivalry where the Toledo has a rocket pointed directly at the Bowling Green campus, right? Have you ever heard about this?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
if you're outside the Toledo Stadium, they have a rocket because they're the
Like a
rocket.
statue, right?
Yeah, but it looks like a real ass like missile. And it's pointed directly, and they say that if you were to fire this rocket, it would land directly at the 50-yard line of Bowling Green.
Like they got the physics nerds to do like the equation,
The
figure
angles,
out angle of
which is-
trajectory. Yeah, that's fantastic.
super fun. Mine is Utah laying the 3. Holy crap. Like, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. So Cam Rising dies, right? Dead. He'll come back for his 11th year next year, probably. But that Utah team stinks. They stink real bad. That's someone I'm always high on. You know, if you've listened to this pod before, how much I revere Uncle Kyle. Uncle Kyle is not putting in that work that he needs to right now.
He's on his
You
way out.
cannot. He's like retiring at the end of the year, I think. They already made that decision. So maybe he lost a little bit of that fire, but you cannot lose to that Houston team. It is unacceptable. That is a very, very bad football team. And to not cover, but just go out and lose that game, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. You should be able to win that game. Bad Uncle Kyle. All right.
Uncle Kyle looked like he's running out pig farmers.
He needs to run out pig farmers. They'd be so much better. I love that guy. What was it, like Braxton Burton or something?
I
Whatever his
forget
name was.
his
That guy
name.
was awesome.
Yeah.
If they had him, they win this game. That Isaac Wilson guy is poop. He stinks.
I don't know if that name's right, but I don't know if Braxton Burton is what I would go with as a pig farmer name.
I'll find both of those names in a second.
Yeah, Braylon. Right. I don't know.
Bryson Barnes. I had the alliteration.
That was
right.
pretty close. That was actually surprisingly close. I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
Well done.
The pig
Danny, we
farm.
just got beat by TJ Watt.
Oh.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, you guys are watching the spread.
Famous pig farmer, if you Bing it, is Robert Picton. He turned to be a serial killer. He was a pig farmer that turned into a serial killer, but
I don't think he was famous for being a pig farmer.
The amount of
that's
jobs.
a pig farmer name.
What is the number one job that becomes a serial killer? Because pig farmer is a good one.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure up there. Like a farmer or like a butcher of some sort, someone who like slaughters animals.
I could see an actuary becoming a serial killer because they're always calculating the risk of someone dying at all times. Maybe they just want to like test it out themselves.
You guys remember the guy who wouldn't give me a beer?
Yeah,
actuary.
Serial killer.
A morgue guy. What are they called? The guys in the morgue.
Mortician?
Yeah, mortician. The morgue guy.
Old Morgie. Let's give out our special awards. What do you say? I have to do a little prep on mine, so I'm going to pass yours around first. Al, what is your special award for the week?
Yeah, I'm giving it out to the MAC just as a conference. Just all the MAC. Every year, the MAC is just a treasure trove of dogs covering. You could throw a dart at a board, and just any dog on any week. If it's a conference game, bet them, and there's a better than 50% shot they cover. So this past week, Dandy found that one out the hard way with Bowling Green. Akron, who is possibly the worst team in college football, got the cover this week. So it's just fantastic. I love it. So good job, Mac.
All right.
Nice.
Andy, I like your punny name, so go for it.
Thank you. This is another. We're bringing back the sponsored picks. You guys may have heard that McDonald's had an E. coli outbreak on their QPCs, and you can't get a QPC right now. So they're really pushing the Filet-O-Fish.
Can you imagine? Someone died from getting E. coli from McDonald's. Can you imagine getting to the pearly gates? Like, you could not show your face in heaven. Be like, how did you get here? I fucking shit myself to death eating a quarter pounder with cheese. No.
I'm not sure our sponsor's going to like that rant,
Sorry.
Al, but
Sorry, continue.
That's all right. So I have the Filet-O-Fish.
Speaking of sponsors.
Oh yeah,
Outlaw beer. If you're not drinking it, what are you fucking doing?
You're a
That's
dummy.
their motto.
What do you want to be in the law?
Yeah, not here.
Nope.
We're big
Nobody
fans
likes
here.
in-laws.
What are you, out of your mind? Drink Outlaw.
Not to piss off our sponsor, but aircraft machinist.
Okay,
I
can see that.
don't know where you're getting these fucking answers from, dude. Like, you're literally Googling, like, what's the top job for a serial killer, and Google's AI is answering, like,
Binging.
airplane machinist.
Binging.
No,
We use Bing here.
Sorry, Bing.
BigThink.com.
God, we're just
Big
pissing
sponsor.
off all the sponsors.
Big sponsor.
Like, I can't believe someone's calculated professions of, like, all serial killers.
That's 100% something I can believe exists.
If you want to talk about, like,
the
the
900
serial killer's
talking
number one
about
job, it's probably, like, slave owner. It's probably
Wow.
the number one
All
serial
right.
killer job.
Wow. Yeah. Or SS officer. Yeah. That's absolutely.
No.
All right. So the
Police
All right,
officer is in the
Filet-O-Fish.
top four. Police officer is in the top four.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good one, too.
So the Filet-O-Fisher Award. Mike Elko from Texas A&M went on a rant after the game on Saturday, and there is some speculation about who he was talking about, but I'll read it here, and you guys can see what you think. He said, sorry, the page reloaded. We took so long getting here.
While we're waiting, forestry
Way to
worker
go, Bing.
honoris. Number two.
George
Number
Bush
two.
hates
Forestry
white.
workers make
George
sense.
Bush hates black people.
Forestry worker
All right.
makes sense. I could see that being a serial killer job.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andy.
They got an axe.
Mike Elko said, "This is a real program. It's not fake. It's not a politician running this program, talking fast and BSing everybody. This is a real program, and for all the recruits out there, this is a real place." So he had
I'm
just
glad it
finished
exists.
meeting. Yeah.
Was
He
there
had just
concern
finished-
that people thought it wasn't?
A real place. Have you ever been to College Station?
I've not.
Only in my mind.
It does sound like a place someone made up for where I want to go to college.
Yeah. I go to College Station.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Kid.
Me and my Canadian girlfriend are going to go together. It's in a town
She's super
called
hot. She's got double
College
D's.
Station. It's
Her dad's a cop, and her mom's a mortician.
Arborist.
Arborist.
Mortar.
Well, that's the Sweeney Todd. There's a whole
Her
musical.
granddad's a slave owner. No, never mind.
So Mike Elko and the Texas A&M Aggies had just beaten Brian Kelly and LSU, and so some people think he was talking about Brian Kelly. I personally like to think that he was talking about his former boss and former Texas A&M coach, Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo's very well known as being a politician, someone who's fast talking and slick, and he was throwing shade at Jimbo. So
reading some tea leaves.
The Filet-O Fisher Award goes to Mike Elko. What do you guys think, Brian Kelly or?
I think he's just upset with all the political ads he's seeing on his TV.
I think he's probably firing a shot at Steve Sarkisian, would be my guess in the state. I don't know why the politician. Look, I know politics is really big in the University of Texas system, so I feel like it's a shot at them more so, trying to get the attention back.
There's probably
it could be the whole SEC.
There's probably a political ad in Texas running. It's like Steve Sarkisian is a radical communist. Come to Texas A&M. So it's probably.
Speaking of radical communists in Texas, the number 3 job for serial killers is general laborer.
Okay, just the person who works. Are you talking about people
general laborer?
Hey, I like it.
I met your mother.
All right, Danny, what's your award?
That's great. I am giving out the Jameis Winston Award. I don't know if anybody caught that LSU A&M game, but that was fun. And we give the Jameis Winston Award out to a quarterback who had a great performance with lots of turnovers and a fun game. So it goes to Garrett Nussmeier for his 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions.
I think Jameis Winston might have an issue with that because he might also deserve that award this week.
You may have to
That's
listen
called
to
foreshadowing.
You may have to listen to the following podcast to learn if he does win an award.
Will he or won't he?
So my award is the MAGA, but between the A and G, we're going to put a K, right? MAKGA.
There should be 3 Ks in between those.
Make America kick great again.
Make American kickers great again. Okay?
Is that what his shirt said, or did it just say MAGA? It just said MAGA.
It just said MAGA. But here's the thing. You guys have seen all these Australians crossing our borders, kicking balls. This is an American sport. And I don't care for all these damn Australians with their fancy sideways spinning. Nah. I want people like
we need to build a wall in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Listen, I want my kickers coming out in cowboy boots with spurs on. Helmet, chaps, boots.
Yeah.
So with all this shoe talk, the number 5 job for serial killers is cobbler.
Is it?
It
No
really is.
way.
Listen, I'd kill at least 4 people for a nice piping hot peach cobbler.
Shoemaker salesperson. Yep.
No. I wouldn't kill anyone for a shoemaker.
Letting me finish my racist.
Keep going, Matt, because I want to rant also.
Well, we see all these Australians come over here. We got Reese Burkhardt, a true goddamn patriot, pulling off a fake field goal, running in the end zone, lifting up his shirt, not showing titties, which we do not appreciate, unless it's our wives, you know what I'm saying? And then
Y'all's
he
wives.
hit a shirt. Yells, it's a MAGA 2024, right? So this was a situation where that touchdown put Texas Tech up by 21 points. They ended up losing the game 35-34, which is hilarious. And the best part was he had a chance to kick a field goal, and he missed. And who would have guessed? It went wide right. Who would have guessed? So my point is we need to get these damn Australians out of here. They can go kick kangaroos in their own country. In this country, we're American kickers.
Can we start referring to wide right field goals as alt-right field goals?
Far right.
I like alt-right. I don't know if he actually missed it right, but that was just the joke. I hope he did miss it right. Missing it left would be even funnier, but I just made that part up. He did miss a field goal to win the game.
Also, Jeffrey Dahmer worked in the chocolate factory.
Do you think he blamed the Democrats controlling the weather for why he missed?
You know what? He probably did.
I do have a rant to make when it comes to dudes advertising with their T-shirt. You put all this thought in planning, and you like have a plan, of action for when you get in the end zone, when the cameras are on you, lift up the jersey, display your message, and you spend literally 1 second scribbling it out in a Sharpie. Like, buddy, give me some big, bold block lettering on your T-shirt. I need to be able to read the message without having to get like a perfect angle.
It's harder to do than you'd think. If all you have is a white T-shirt and a Sharpie, it doesn't go on nice. So if they're not planning far enough ahead and they're just in the locker room,
spend 5 more minutes.
He couldn't get an appropriate MAGA shirt in West Texas because I do not.
That's what I'm saying.
For 1 second.
It would probably have been cheaper than the Hanes T-shirt and the Sharpie.
Yeah, but that's way up here. That's harder to reveal under the jersey and the pad.
He could probably get one on Etsy for half off because they printed it in the wrong spot. I'm just saying.
Hid
up the production.
You should have just hid the stuffed bear with like Trump's haircut and tie behind the goalpost and pulled that out and signed it and thrown it to a fan. That would have been better.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that would have been better than scribbling.
Clearly, you guys don't know.
Yeah.
Was that a Joe Horn reference?
It was. I think it was Joe Horn, right?
He should have just mooned everyone and put MAGA on his butt cheeks.
The Sharpie wasn't Joe Horn. Joe Horn did the cell phone. The Sharpie was Torello.
It was cell phone.
It was just the bear was something John Oliver made fun of that was in one of the campaign commercials or something that was on recently. So I'm sorry, you can cut this out.
No, it's okay. That's it for the awards. You guys have?
It actually turns out the number 5 most popular serial killer profession is being a pedant.
5 is shoemaker. We already went through that. 6 is truck driver for those that were interested.
That's fair.
Truck driver fits.
Executive Decision, good movie. Or no, that's not it. Breakdown.
Am I just having a stroke? Are you just saying things?
No, Breakdown is the movie with Kurt Russell where his wife gets abducted by a truck driver.
Oh,
it's pretty good.
Okay. Oh,
Executive Decision is the one where he like is on a plane that gets hijacked, but that's it. I fucked that up.
That's the low budget Air Force One, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo. Steven Seagal.
You guys know Ted Bundy went to the Suicide Hotline Crisis Center.
I didn't. Do you think he was better?
Number 7 is hotel porter. Number 8 is
bad.
military personnel.
I mean, clown has got to be top 10, right? If we're doing it by like body count, or we're doing it by like number of serial killers.
John Wayne Gacy was a clown, right? Or was he just a casual
criteria?
Clown?
I don't know.
He didn't have his face.
Every serial killer's a clown to me, Matt.
All right. On that note, thank you all for listening to a very informative college football podcast today. Go to singlelegparlay.com. Make sure you follow us. Hit that subscribe button. Put your email address so we can send you our picks. We've been pretty damn good at football betting, especially in the NFL. But college is going to pick up. We got the numbers moving the right direction for the boys, so that's awesome. Go to TikTok, follow Single Leg Parlay Andy. He made some hilarious content this week that I was really enjoying while I was sitting on the toilet earlier today, and made me laugh very hard. Made the process easier. And look, if you have a hard time shitting, it'll loosen everything up, guaranteed. I want to thank our sponsors.
Speaking of spitting,
Speaking
of sitting, the number 9 serial killer job is automobile upholsterer.
that is an oddly specific job. That cannot be the case.
Actually relevant. That's a good tie-in name, Danny.
Let's thank Quarter Pounders with E. coli, the fillet of fish. Outlaw. Don't be an outsider. Be an outlaw.
Googling things in Bing.
Binging things.
Although being an outsider is kind of cool, right? Being an outsider is kind of cool. Got the leather jacket and the greased back hair. Pony boy.
Yep.
Yeah, then you gotta hang out with Rob Lowe.
I got that reference.
All right. This has been enough. Cheers, everybody.
Number 10 is warehouse manager. Let's round out the top 10.
Hey, we made it through the top 10 of serial killer jobs. You learned something today, man.
Number 11,
Hopefully you
podcast
did it.
host.
Nope, gas station attendant.
And then religious official. I found your site.
Yeah, that's right. That's the top 12. Those are the OLI, the last two there. So,
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the newly rebranded Single Leg Parlay podcast. Visit our website at www.singlelegparlay.com, where you can read more of our thoughts, as well as subscribing to our newsletter to have our picks delivered straight to your inbox each week. And don't forget to follow Single Leg Parlay on all of your favorite social media platforms. Cheers!